Mwasibire muta, mwasibye mutya, amahoro, agandi, byaibo, habari gani, muraho, sangonini, kopango, odeo. For those of you who are wondering what that was, these are some of the various local greetings found in East Africa's diverse languages. Welcome to SheCentre, the female podcast, where I dive into the issues and experiences that affect women everywhere. I am your host, Resty Kansiime, and I am passionate about creating a safe space for women to share their stories and triumphs. I want to thank you for tuning into my podcast, and I would love for you to join our community and stay connected with us beyond this episode. You can find us on Instagram at _SheCentre_podcast and follow us on Facebook at the SheCentre Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and hit that follow and like button on our social media to be part of the conversation. Hi, welcome back to SheCentre, the female podcast. This is your host, Resty Kansiime, and I am, as per usual, back again with a new episode. We are in a new season. I didn't want to do seasons and, blah, blah, blah. I thought I would just do like once, but in the break that I took, I shared with you guys that I was taking the rest of October off after realizing that I had so much to do during my trip in Uganda. And while I was reflecting and doing research on the platform with everything to do with the platform, I figured the best thing to do is to introduce something new, something fresh, As you all know, if you're new here, we have been answering the question, what happened to you? This season of the first season, I talked to so many women. Some of them were my relatives, some of them were friends, people I reached out to who I barely knew. And it was so transformational. I can tell you that we spoke about so many things. Some of them were surprising to me, even if people were my relatives and friends. It really did answer, it fulfilled what it is that I wanted to show you guys on the platform. And I'm very grateful to all the people who were able to tune in and listen every week, even those who are still catching up. I understand life is busy. We are busy out here doing stuff. So take your time, but the Christmas holidays are coming up, so you can be able to listen. So I am going to attempt to do video podcasting. And this is because I personally, when I am listening to podcasts, I always find myself wanting to see someone. So every time I notice that the person has a video podcast on YouTube, I always want to watch the podcast instead of just listen to it. But I was speaking to a friend of mine and she was like, no, Resty, I prefer listening. So I was like, okay, we can have both options, because so many people have been asking me for the video. But I have to warn you guys that it's not always easy to have video podcasting, because I'm doing this all by myself. I have my camera my phone camera right in front of me. Yes, I do have a really good microphone, but in many cases when I'm recording people, sometimes the network is really terrible, maybe based on where they are or the weather conditions. As you know, our network back home is always affected by stuff like that. So because of that, sometimes my videos or my recording could take way longer, like 4 hours, and then there's a lot of skipping, and the mouth, the lips do not match up to the audio, and this always makes it really, really hard for me to edit. And I don't have that much time because I do not have a content creator. I am doing this all by myself. So sometimes I figured I can always just put the audio and just have short clips of where everything was fine. But I am going to attempt to do this because I feel like, I think YouTube is a good place to be. And I can't even believe I'm talking this it's really hard for me to record and talk on my own, but I was just coming in from a recording where I was recording someone, and I guess after explaining everything to her with the platform, I'm kind of still I'm in the zone. I'm in their zone. So anyways, as I said, we are no longer asking the question, what happened to you? However, that's something that we'll be discovering as we go in this new season. In this new season, I am going to ask my guests, are you living in your purpose? And maybe this is something that you can also reflect on. Are you living in your purpose? We are exploring the evolution of purpose and the impact in women's personal and professional journeys. So their challenges, their growth and community. And while I was doing this research, it turns out that when I reached out to some people, like, you know how you look at someone, they're doing something. And by the way, when I mean purpose, like I'm going to get into that in a second, but I just mean like people, women who are making impact wherever they are. Maybe I'll bring in some men who are also making impact in society with regards to helping women and empowering them. So tune in for that. But its purpose is not, you're doing something so big. It could be you are stay-at-home mom. Oh, that's like the biggest purpose in the world, raising a human being and shaping their life. That's big. And then also it could be that you are a makeup artist, you are a hairdresser. I have a lineup. I would say I have a lineup because I have the vision of where this is going to go. But just like I started out last season, I had a vision. I was like, I'm going to interview these people, but some of them said no. And those were my relatives. Guys, I'm still watching you. If you know, like, yourselves, the people who refuse to be on my platform because of excuses, like, I have nothing to say. You always have something to say. Anyways, I didn't force them, as good as I am. I decided to respect them, but some of them are open to the idea of sharing about their purpose. So one of the people I reached out to, I felt like there are people who are living in their purpose, and the person was like, oh, I'm still trying to figure it out. And that made me to think, like, in many cases, you could look at someone, maybe they're a content creator or they're a doctor, a lawyer, and you're thinking that they're living in their purpose. But purpose means so many things, as I am discovering. It turns out that when this person said they're still discovering their purpose, I had to go back to the drawing board and kind of realize and try to figure out, like, what questions can I ask these people? Because I realized that if I ask, are you living in your purpose? It opens up the person to either say yes or no, and then we can discover it. But in many cases, what I'm learning from the interviews that I've had so far, that purpose means so many things to different women. It could be that in different seasons you have a different purpose. It could mean that you have this one purpose that you think is your purpose. Like, I personally feel like this is my purpose, to speak to people and to help women, and that stems from I guess if you look at it, there is, different, like, my purpose is in different segments of my life. Like, I have a purpose in my family as a wife and all this stuff, but all of them combined together, I feel like everything that I'm going through is all going into, like, it's feeling into this tap of empowering women. But there are people who are telling me, yes, I do this. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also doing this and this and this and this. So purpose is different, as we are going to discover. And yes, so in the last season, we had stories of pain, resilience, transformation, stories that reminded us just how important it is to understand the struggles of people and to know that everything that we are going through, if you are going through it, just know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You will not stay here forever. You will make it through. And while you're on the way, it's going to shape the person that you are and how you're going to see the world. So just be patient with yourself and be understanding. And so in this season, I'm shifting to fast forward, and instead of dwelling on the past, what happened to you, I'm going to ask, are you living in your purpose? And in this season, I do want to understand if our past experiences can evolve into something deeper, something that drives women into their purpose. So I'll be exploring how purpose isn't just a destination, but it's a fluid, it's an evolving journey, and how for many, the journey continues to shape their impact and their impact in the world. So yeah, this shift is important. It's really important, not just for the conversations. It will also explain something bigger. It helps me also that through these interviews, I am learning, I am gaining valuable insights that are informing the development of SheCentre, because every person that comes on here has a set of rules, a set of gifts and so many things that they can contribute. And I don't have to reach out to everyone in the world, but I can reach out to specific people and learn from them and be like, okay, yeah, this is something that I missed out on adding into the platform, but here we are, we can add it. So I'm getting valuable insights and information that is helping me to develop the SheCentre platform. And like I said in the beginning, the platform is going to be digital, and this podcast is an aspect of that platform. It is helping me to put the word out there, to grow a community, to be able to make people understand what exactly I'm building. And I'm guessing if you've been listening to the podcast, you probably know exactly my whole business idea. It's not really a business. Okay, maybe the business idea, as we would say it in society. But you kind of probably have kind of an idea of what I'm building. But in case you don't know, it's an online platform. It will probably launch soon. I'm praying to God for it to launch next year. Let's see how that goes. But it's there to serve women across East Africa and maybe even beyond borders, and not just women who are living in East Africa, but East African women who are living all over the world, like my mom who lives in Germany, who was raised us from Uganda. We were in Uganda and she was here and she was raising us miles and miles away, but she was able to have to rely on, you're sick, how can I help you? How can I do this? What information do I need to keep up? If you're like a mom who is living abroad, what do you need to know about what's happening back home for you to be able to support your family and your loved ones? So yeah. And like I always say, remember, SheCentre stands for Support, Heal, and Empower Center. That is the main goal of this platform. The podcast and the female platform, digital platform, they are here to support women, to empower women by helping them to find healing. Either it's through the story or it's through maybe the blog post that will be put out there, the content, anything that is going to, like, everything about SheCentre is to support, heal, and empower. What is so interesting about that is the fact that when I was registering SheCentre as an entity in Uganda, I was forced. Like, they were like, no, SheCentre, no, we don't take that name. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they were like, yeah, it's not good enough. We needed to have something else. And it really stressed me so much because I was like, I had to go through focus group discussion. Sorry, my tongue. I had to go through a focus group discussion where I had all these names that I'd chosen, and women helped me to come up with the name SheCentre. So I was like, I'm not about to, just let go of this cool name, But as I was sleeping and praying to God, I was like, God, why? And God, it came to me, I was like, the She can stand for something. So creatively, my brain kind of came up with the She to be support, heal, and empower. I know I don't write it in caps lock. I prefer my logo design that my friend Joanne, thank you, Joanne, came up with to help me with the design of the logo, because it starts with a capital, but then the others are small, and then the center is a capital. So I didn't want to change that, but yeah, the She stands for support, heal, and empower. So in this season, I am going to bring for you different women from all walks of life. I've already reached out to so many people. Some of them have not responded, but it's okay. I've worked in sales before. I understand rejection, and I don't take it as bad as I used to back in the day. You will come around and you will be open to speaking to me in the future. And I respect that, because, you can't be forced to do what you want to do. Anyways, like I said, I have a lineup of women who are coming from different walks of life. If you feel like what happened to you really helped you, then the new season about purpose is going to be very, very informative. I'm very sure that it's going to help you to realize that if you're going through this season of your life where you're still trying to figure out your purpose. I reached out to one friend of mine and she said, Resty, I am like in a season of, I don't know what's happening to my life. Like, she was like she is in a season where she's confused about her life and if she's living her life like the right way or whatever. And it was such an interesting conversation, because then I realized, like, sometimes you might see on the outside that someone has it all figured out, but then they're still struggling. And when I was speaking to her, I started to affirm her, because she's my friend, and I started to tell her, I'm like, you do this work, you do this and this. And I think this conversation I've had with two people who both expressed that they didn't feel like they were making impact. And when their friend, told them what they're doing, it made them realize, oh, okay, maybe maybe I just need to see it from a different angle. So if you're a woman out there and you're feeling like, man, like I'm doing this and this, I'm not happy, I'm feeling like I'm losing it, I'm confused, understand that there are people around you who know you sometimes more than you know yourself. Maybe they see the best in you. So don't be too hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Understand that it's a journey. You don't, I think this stems from societal expectations. As I will get into the science, I have my research, by the way. As I get into the science behind that in a few minutes, I realize that there's this whole pressure, like society has made it seem like you should know why you were put on this earth, created, blah, blah, blah. But in many cases, some people need their time to figure it out. So take your time. And while you listen to these episodes, or when you do listen to this and you have an episode, and you have a friend who is trying to figure out their purpose, share this episode with them so that they can be able to learn from others and be able to understand that, we're all in this together. Like my story can impact your story. So by understanding both the challenges of women, the challenges they have faced, and how they are discovering their purpose today, I hope that this is going to help me to make the platform very, very helpful to women in East Africa and beyond. So we are going to highlight the paths women are walking, whether they're still figuring their life out, whether they're immersed in their purpose, and how. And I really want to know from every woman that I'm going to talk to how the SheCentre platform can be able to help support them along the journey. And yeah, basically that's that. So stay with me as we move from exploring what happened to you and embracing, are you living in your purpose? Because every story helps me build the platform that is going to change lives. Banag, I think guys are tired of the word platform. Anyways, I just want to see women thrive. So let's get into some research. I read, when I came up with the question, what happened to you? Yeah. It was because I read this book. I have my books here, guys. Like, these are some of the books that have helped me. Let me see. So I have What Happened to You. This is from Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce Perry. This was one of the giveaways that I gave out to Doreen. Yes. This book helped me a lot because I was trying to understand myself. It came recommended by Dr. Anita Phillips, who is a psychologist, clinical psychologist, and she is in America, but I used to listen to her podcast. And it helped me so much because she introduced me to knowing myself in the podcast that I was listening to. And that's why, like, mostly I was very influenced by the people that I listened to on podcasts who have mentored me along this journey, because they help me to see that you can bring change to someone even you don't even know. Like, someone could be listening to this and they know nothing about me, but they're being impacted and they'll probably never meet me. But yeah, society. I did once mention her on my Instagram, and she reposted, and then I sent her a DM and she responded. I felt like a celeb at that time. Anyways, so I felt like I needed to find a book that is going to help me in the new season that we are going into. So the first book that I read, thanks to my husband, who who loves books so much. My husband has this book called Ikigai, and I've been hearing about it. He was telling me so much about it. It says the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Apparently, people in Japan live longer. Like, they have the majority of people who are living longer. And I don't really have that much time these days with everything that I'm doing to read books, like physical books. But I was able to get the audiobook, and I listened to the audiobook, and yeah, let's see. Some of the things that stood out are on my phone, which I'm using to record. Let's see. I feel like even if this is like something that is mostly based on happiness and long life, they talked about how with purpose, it's very important for you to find your passion, your flow, and that you need to focus. You need to focus, and you need to take away some of these distractions that are affecting you, and you need to there are basic things that you need to do in life, like find the things that you love. Community, they emphasize a lot of community. They emphasized doing taking one step at a time, and yeah, so many things that they always talk about in most motivational stuff. Guys, my notes are in the phone, and I swear I was very prepared, but I did not think about this. I only printed out some other notes that I took. Don't think I'm not serious, but that was all I wanted to talk about. That. So I did also read a book called Prepared that my husband bought some years back. And this book is by, it says what kids need for a fulfilled life. So this book was very helpful because the person who wrote this book started this educational system where she is helping schools in America to develop a system that helps kids to learn better. So basically, you have to read this. But this book was very, very helpful in helping me understand how this literally starts when we are young. Like, if you grow up with people who are supporting you and who are helping you to focus on things that matter in your life, it might be easier for you in life to live a fulfilled life, because when you grow up, you're not confused. Like, you're not trying to do everything. And I would say, let's see, the reason why I have this book here, this is Woman Evolve, is because I would definitely want to speak about Sarah Jakes Roberts. If you are a Christian and you have heard about T.D. Jakes, this is the daughter called Sarah Jakes Roberts. And I feel like this woman is like, wow, she is a force to be reckoned with. Just what I wanted to say shortly about her life is in consuming her content, reading her books, and watching her videos and listening to her sermons as a Christian, it has helped me realize that you can never be cancelled in this life. This lady, in case you don't know her story, got pregnant at 13. She is a daughter to one of the most influential pastors in the world, and she had to navigate life through getting married at a young age, dropping out of college. She had to also navigate life as a young mom, a teenage mom, and then all that she went to go through. She went and got married, and there's infidelity in her family, and she was acting out of herself and not being the best for her child. She had to get divorced, and then eventually she got married to another pastor. She said she never wanted to be a pastor or marry a pastor because she was a pastor's kid, but she ended up marrying someone who she said has really helped her in her journey. And the reason why I'm mentioning Sarah Jakes Roberts is because she is leading a female platform that has partially, I would say, influenced SheCentre, like the building of SheCentre. But even if some of the things that she's doing are completely different from what my vision is, but Sarah Jakes Roberts has built a platform called Women Evolve. And there has never been a time in life where someone has so much of these experiences. And I listened to her episode on Mel Robinson, what's her name? Mel Robinson podcast recently. And she was talking about how in life as people, I would say as women, we might be going through some things. Like, for instance, in What Happened to People shared about their abuse growing up, maybe teenage moms, like my mom who had us when she was really young. And then people who grew up in poverty, people who grew, like all those people, when they were sharing their lives, they were kind of proving to like what she was sharing in her, what she shares in her life, that all these things that you encounter in life, like the people you're going to meet while you're maybe going through the worst, like you could be in a place where you're going through the worst, and those people that you meet there, you might think that, oh, I need to cut out these people, I don't want them to remind me of this kind of life. But these might be people that are going to help you in the future. Like I was listening to Pastor Stephen recently, my pastor from Elevation Church, and Pastor Stephen was saying that God can use anything. Like he can use anything for your life. As a Christian, I believe that because it's in the Bible, it says God works all things together for our good. Like that's what we believe as Christians. So that might mean that her getting pregnant was a mistake, that probably some trauma that led her there, or some mistake that she made that led her there. But God is using, as she said in the Mel Robinson podcast, she gained so much wisdom in the mistake that she made as a teenager. And this wisdom is something that is helping her right now to help other people. So Pastor Stephen was saying that you might do something stupid right now, but God can use that stupid thing to help someone else or to help you in the future. So I would say Sarah Jakes Roberts did something, I don't want to call it stupid, but yes, she did something just for the sake of explanation. Like, let's say she did something stupid, she got pregnant, or she did something that was considered wrong, was wrong. And she made a mistake. One mistake, she ended up having a child at 14. And fortunately for the world right now, she is able to speak to women who are right there where she is. If you're a young girl who is navigating life as a teen mom, or you're a person who is going through divorce and you're acting out and all that stuff, every time she opens her mouth, there is so many women who can glean from her experiences. And that's something that I believe has really like encapsulates the sentence, God will work all things together for our good. Because when she speaks, she's drawing from all these painful experiences. She experienced these things. Some of us are just, learning from them while we're going through them. But she experienced so much stuff that she is using right now to teach us so that we don't have to make the same mistakes. So that's something that I find that was very, very impactful. So, yes, I found a definition for purpose. It says here that purpose is often defined as a meaningful reason for existence, a guiding principle, or a sense of direction that aligns actions and goals with one's core values. So this, some people say it's their calling. And I think Dr. Darius Daniels, I have his book here. He wrote a book about relational intelligence. He wrote a book about relational intelligence, the people skills you need for the life of purpose that you want. What's so funny? Like, I literally randomly collected these books to put them on my table, and I didn't know that I had written his name on my research paper. Anyways, so Dr. Darius Daniels, who is also a pastor, calls he says purpose is a unique agitation. So it could be the things, he said, these are the things that bother you, but not bother others. So if you have ever sat there and you're wondering, I don't want to mention names. I almost mentioned someone's name, but let's say Mandela, let's say Nelson Mandela, let's say Martin Luther King Jr., let's say Mahatma Gandhi. Those are the books that I read when I was trying to understand autobiographies, as recommended by Dr. Anita Phillips. She said that if you really want to understand your life and how everything is going to fall into place to lead up to your purpose, it's always good for you to either listen to an autobiography story, like someone talk about their life stories. And that's what we did in the first season, to answer the question, what happened to you, which helps you to understand, okay, if this person did this and they have been successful, then that means me, who is going through it, I will also get to where they are in the future if I just keep being resilient. So he talked about how yes, I was explaining the whole point of purpose with agitation. So it could be, if you see the life of Nelson Mandela, like, if you are not a person who has been called, whose calling is to be a leader, a president or whatever, like, you will never understand it. Like, you will look at him on the street. I'm sure people looked at him, and you look at movies about his life and you're like, why did he have to go through this? Like, did he not care about his family, his wife? Why did he, like, that's like abandonment. Like, Martin Luther King literally got shot when he was doing what he feels he was called to do. This man was a pastor coming from a family line of pastors. influential pastors, and he had to go out there and do things that he thought he was called to do. And he had a dream. His dream was to see that people are united. He didn't live to see it, but we are living in that dream of his, as Americans say, although it's not yet 100%. But that's, I think, to explain that in many cases, you might not understand someone's purpose and why they're doing what they're doing. But if something agitates someone or agitates you so much, like if you're a person who you're irritated by people dropping things on the street, maybe your purpose is in, being an environmentalist, like this girl from Uganda, I've forgotten her name, who is really doing a good job. And if maybe your purpose is you just don't like to see people, with makeup that's not organized, and you're like, okay, let me just help you fix this. So maybe your purpose is in making people look beautiful. So the one thing that I would like us to understand in this season is that purpose is different for so many people. It doesn't have to be this big thing that you're doing. Now, think about it. I always give this as an example to people. In the story of Joseph and Mary, David is someone who, was years ago, he had passed on, but a promise was made to him that someone was going to be born from him who would be like, the ruler of the world, whatever it is. And Joseph happens to be the person who comes from that lineage of David, who is chosen to be the father of Jesus. But not even like God could have chosen him to be a biological father, but he didn't. His role was just to raise Jesus as a father. And interestingly, apart from the first parts of the scriptures where they talk about, Joseph had a dream. Joseph was told, take your child to Egypt. Joseph was sent to, he came to Bethlehem. Joseph, after that, you don't hear anything about Joseph. Like right now, no one knows. Maybe researchers have done this, I don't know. No one really, like in the scripture, it's not written Joseph died at this age. Joseph taught Jesus how to do carpentry. Joseph, like his purpose was to be the father of Jesus, our Savior. So in many cases, like Mary is hailed, and at the end, when Jesus was dying, she's right there. Like she's mentioned all throughout scripture. But Joseph is someone whose life served such a big purpose. Like he literally raised Jesus, as he influenced him as a father. But his purpose is as simple as raising the Savior. So this could also be translated in real life, like not in like real life, but in the modern life, that you could be a mom out there and you're raising your child and you're doing everything, and you're looking at people online who are influencers or who are working for the UN or whatever it is. I have been there. I think sometimes, like I used to compare, or I always used to feel like my life should have been more, like I should be in the UN working and doing this. But the actual reality is that where you are, if you look around you realize that your purpose where you are, it's important. What you're doing is important. If you are a mom and you're raising your children, what you're doing is very significant. Like it's much more significant than someone who is out there doing things like, being a leader, because the person that you're raising could be the next president. The person that you're raising at home could be the next doctor who is going to save lives. It could be the next pastor, the next, I don't know, anything. Think about it. So that means as a mother at home, you are fulfilling a very huge purpose. You might not be doing anything else, but that one thing that God has given you, children, do it with all your heart. And that's what the book Ikigai was talking about. Like find your flow and find something that you're passionate about and focus on it. And some of those things that you need to do are to find joy in the small things that you're doing. So I also read a book. There are some books I could recommend that I read, but I wanted to mention some of the limitations or challenges that are said to make the process of finding purpose hard. And some of these are the pressure and expectations. I mentioned this earlier. So this causes anxiety as society puts pressure on people to find their purpose. Like, yeah, you need to find something. You need to find something. You might be 40 and find out that your purpose is something else. So yeah, and also it says, yeah, evolving nature of purpose. So purpose changes. It's different in different seasons. Today your purpose might be to be a mom, and then your children grow up and move out of the house. Tomorrow your purpose might be to know, to just be nice to people and encourage people and to love people. That could be your purpose in life, to make people laugh. Like if you're a content creator who makes funny jokes, you literally change people's lives by making them laugh. So that could be your purpose. It evolves. It's not static. It doesn't stay the same all throughout. And purpose can also be influenced by external circumstances. So for instance, social media can affect your purpose. Like if you're always scrolling and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or maybe also if you get sick and it affects what you're supposed to do, so it can be influenced. And then there's also the risk of self-centeredness. So people who like to focus on themselves, it could affect your sense of purpose, because in many cases purpose is to do something meaningful to help other people. It's not about helping yourself and doing something for yourself. It's a contribution to the world. And then also the fear of failure and perfectionism really affects purpose, because if you're afraid to fail or you want everything to be perfect, then you won't take that first step. There are certain books that I saw that to help people with research about purpose. One of them is Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Viktor E. Frankl, and this explores purpose through finding meaning in life, even amid suffering. And it's based on Victor's experiences in the concentration camps here in Europe. And then the other one is The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. I wanted to mention that this is another book that I am reading right now on audio. I'm listening to the book right now. It's a Christian perspective on finding purpose, focusing on spiritual insights to understand one's place in life. It's a definite recommended. Like I recommend this to every person. It's one of the New York best time sellers. The third one is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And this is a book that focuses on how identifying a personal why can guide one's purpose and leadership. And the fourth is Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. It's also and then David Mead and Peter Docker. This is a practical guide with exercises to help individuals and organizations discover their core purpose. The other one is The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama and Howard. Apparently, this combines Buddhist teachings with psychological insights to highlight the role of compassion and values in living with purpose. And then there is Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth, which examines the role of resilience and purpose in achieving long-term goals. And there is Let Your Life Speak, Listening for the Voice of Vocation by Parker J. Palmer, which reflects on the importance of following one's true calling and finding purpose in meaningful work. So the key themes of purpose based on all these books is inner alignment and self-discovery. That is the importance of understanding one's core values and unique strength, resisting external pressures to align with personal authenticity. So that means you really have to, understand yourself, do the work on the inside for you to be able to discover your purpose and to do what it is that you were created to do. The second is resilience through purpose. And this is that purpose acts as a stabilizing force of navigating challenges, helping to foster inner strength and perseverance. Like you really need to keep going, whatever happens, even if you're failing. Even I'm speaking this and I'm speaking to myself. Like sometimes you're struggling so much to SheCentre, like I might wake up and I don't feel like putting a post out there or doing the podcast. I'm like, do people even care? Like maybe it only got 5 clicks or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I just have to be resilient and wake up every day, because I am not doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for one person. I'm doing it for the greater good. Or it could be that I'm doing it for, like my episode I put out today, this episode could be just for one person. Like it could be that it's just you that is supposed to listen to this, and that's it. that I'm okay with that. I have learned that I have to be content with whatever impact that I make, even if it's to one person. And then the third is there is meaning beyond oneself. Finding purpose is contributing to something greater, social challenge, such as social change, community involvement, or mentorship, which can lead to a deeper fulfillment. So purpose also fulfills you. Like you are, you're doing something beyond yourself. And that's why it's very important to not wake up every day and think about me, 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 me. It's not good. Anyways, the fourth and last is embracing authenticity. Living authentically by embracing one's true self and moving beyond societal or cultural expectations to pursue a fulfilling life aligned with personal values. So, man, you have to be yourself. You cannot be like, I can't wake up every day and force life as, I don't know, Rihanna. Hi, Rihanna, in case you're listening. I can't wake up and be Beyonce or do this. Like, you need to be yourself. Be you. Like, God created you unique to carry out a specific thing. So, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, a non-believer, in between, whatever you are, wherever you are in life, whether you are 2 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, you have been placed on this earth for a purpose. And that purpose is something is your why. It's your existence, your reason to exist, the reason why you exist. And a lot of factors are going to affect your fulfilling that purpose that God created you to fulfill. Those could be traumatic experiences, social media, as we said, because instead of going out there and doing what you're supposed to do, you're just scrolling. I'm a victim. And it could be maybe the people who live around you do not support you because, like back home, study hard. And sometimes you're like, my purpose is in this, and then, like, I'm glad that these days there's so much that's happening where we are seeing different people accomplishing their purpose in different ways. Like, who knew back in the day when we were growing up, like comedy could be someone's purpose. Like, but right now we see that people like Kansiime, they are making us laugh. Yo, sometimes when I'm like stressed out, I could just watch her and laugh. I could just watch Kevin Hart and laugh. Like, there's so many people you can watch and laugh, and clearly that's their purpose. But imagine these are people who could sit down and think to themselves, well, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, and yet they are changing other. Like, laughing can really heal you. There are so many times I've listened to people and I'm like healed. Like, I feel much better after listening to them make me laugh. So your purpose is different from every person. I hope that, and my goal is through these interviews, this time I'm going to make short episodes. I'm watching my time right now. I cannot believe I've been able to speak for this long about purpose. I really didn't know. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for guiding me. But I just want you to know that wherever you are, you have a reason. You matter. You were created for a purpose, and that purpose is something that you can discover by doing the inner work. God can help you. If you're not a believer, you can read books, you can, listen to this podcast and hear how other people have explored their purpose, how they found out it was their purpose, or how they're navigating life around the word purpose. And hopefully, this is going to help you to understand yourself. And to any person out there who is having a really tough time, you are facing, you're having it, like you feel like, why. Interestingly, someone called me last week. They sent me a message after seeing, I think, me on social media, and they sent me, it was so sad. They sent me an email and they were telling me how they want to end their life and they just wanted to talk to me. I'm like, God, why would I have to experience this? And the person said, I just want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So when I said, I'm not going to give you my number because I don't know if this is a prank, but we could meet over Google Meet. And interestingly, the person joined the Google Meet and she said she's going through so much and no one cares about her pain. People pretend to care. I tried to talk to her. I tried to encourage her and she didn't want to hear me. She just wanted to talk, and she shared how she wants to end her life, and she was actually saying that she was going to do it that night. I don't know if she's okay. I tried to reach out to her by email and sent her some videos and tried to talk to her. I even tried to preach to her, but she didn't want to know. She was like, she didn't give a damn about God and everything. And I, I, I felt at peace. I didn't feel stressed out after that phone call. I did not feel like I didn't do what I have to do. Because at the end, she said, thank you for listening. So maybe my purpose in that particular season of this girl's life was just to listen to her. Because one thing I told her was, it's not a coincidence that I am discovering. She didn't want to hear this, but I'm saying this to you in case you're listening to this episode and you called me. It wasn't a mistake that she phoned me on social media, and she phoned me not even through my podcast, or maybe she did. I don't know how she phoned me, but she sent me an email on my blog. That's myfavoritesummons.life. That's where she sent me an email, and I thought maybe it's because she read some of the blog articles that I wrote and other people wrote, but it turns out that she just wanted to talk. I don't know how she phoned me, but she phoned me, and I was telling her it's for a reason. There's a reason why you found me on social media and why me and you are talking right now. And I told her, I really hope that you reconsider ending your life. So if you are a person out there who feels like life is not lifing, things are not working out the way you expected them to, just know that many of us have been there. Like, there's a time where I was comparing myself to my friends. I was 30 years old writing my master's thesis, and I was like, my friends have jobs, some have children, like, why am I not in the UN right now? Because every person who studied political science has to work in the UN. Anyways, in discovering that, as I shared in the first episode of my podcast, at a low breaking point, I was wondering, why did I go through this? Why did I have to experience all these things that I went through? Like, why me? Why me? Why am I the one who got bullied? Why am I the one who grew up when my dad wasn't there? Why, in my life? Why did my mom have to leave when I was 13? All those things are things that I was hurt. Like, I was going through that moment. I was having a pity party. And I remember praying to God. I was like, God, why? And God is like, I just need you to write everything down. Where is my book? Now that I have a video podcast, I need to show you guys this book that I'm always talking about. So this is the book that I got. This was a book that was inside my journal that I got that year. The journal is there. I was writing someone's in the journal. And this book is something where I started writing stuff. Like, I started writing things that were coming to my head. So I started writing. I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't know how people do it. They do like this. Anyways, I'll read some of the things to you. So I had vision ideas, a library, saloon, games. Like, things just kept coming to my head. And then I started writing different things that different women have gone through, women who are facing problems with their skin, hair, or whatever. Everything that I felt like women have gone through. I literally just wrote, like, teenagers, mothers, people who have experienced loss, first-time parents, people who are trying to figure out dating life, menopause, college. I wrote everything in here, and I did not know for the life of me why I was writing these things, but one thing stood out to me, and that one was that I felt in that moment a peace, and I wrote on here, vision. It has grown into something so beautiful that is SheCentre, and I'm seeing it grow, but it started from my pain. So sometimes the pain that we're experiencing, the confusion that we are living, those are the raw materials that you need to do that one thing that God created you to do. So do not take for granted the life that you're experiencing. Everything will work together for your good. Like, literally, I believe that with all my heart, because everything, like, the times when I've sat down and someone has called me and said, yo, I'm facing this, I have so much experience from so many things, either through other people's experiences, like my mom. I have people who I've talked to who are maybe single moms and they're struggling, and I would tell them, yo, when my mom was raising us, I remember this and this and this, and that person would be like, oh, thank you so much for sharing that. It has really helped me. So even just stories and experiences, everything that you are going through, it can be used to help people out there. So just tap into it, focus. And the books, I don't want to particularly say one in case I make a mistake, but they talked about resilience. Just keep going. Even when, like, you might start up today and say, I'm going to write a book, and then 2 days later, you've changed your mind. Work against your flesh and keep pushing, work hard at it. If you do not know, like, for instance, I knew nothing about content creation and podcasting and all that stuff. We are living in a digital world right now. Go out there, find content, read. Like, YouTube University is here. This podcast is going to be on YouTube now. Please, guys, pray for me. I hope that I'm able to have videos for all the episodes that I'm going to have out. Don't judge the quality of video. Sometimes my phone chooses to have its own problems and it's blurry or whatever. I hope this is perfect. But what I want to say is, we have everything that we need to help us to get to where we want to be. There's ChatGPT, there is this, of course, in regulation. If you use these things the right way, they can help you. And one thing I can tell you, this is a story I want to share as I conclude, that when I was doing my research, I did this online class from this lady who lives here in Germany, and she is she's an influencer, and she was talking about how when she started her podcast, she wanted to, influence, to like bring change, because she's a Muslim woman and she wears a hijab, and in Germany it's not really like that popular. And she said, like, she got this job where she went and they didn't give her the job because she was like wearing a hijab, because they were like, sometimes we go and drink, sometimes we like to do this and this, and apparently she didn't get the job. But she felt so bad. But then she was like, you know what, she explained this analogy. She said, sometimes to catch a butterfly, you don't have to go chasing after it, because that is going to tear you out. This, to translate, means if I want the UN, if I want to work with the UN, or if I want to work for the UN, I don't have to go and apply. Maybe I did once get a shot somewhere, whatever, where I was going to volunteer, but it never happened because of COVID. But if I want to work for the UN and it doesn't work out, I shouldn't be like, oh, okay, that's it. My academics, they're all useless. I don't have any company I'm working for. She said that to catch that butterfly, sometimes you just have to change your perspective. All you can do is go to your home, grow a garden, plant flowers, cultivate those flowers, and then the butterflies are going to come running to you. And in her life, this translated to mean that when she was out there trying to bring impact, she was trying to bring change into different offices, why Muslim women are treated the way they are in offices, blah, blah, and all that stuff in Germany. And she started a podcast, and she said, this podcast, I literally went and saw, like, she didn't have many followers on her Instagram, and her YouTube videos would be having like 10 viewers or 10 views or something. And this is a very successful woman. But she said one time she made this video, which she really felt had the least views. And this video turned out to be the video that brought opportunities for her, because someone who listened to this video, the few people who listened to the podcast, they shared it with someone who reached out to her and hired her for a gig, and that opened up opportunities for her that were bigger. I've seen this in my life. Like, sometimes I record episodes and I'm like, no one is listening, and then an opportunity is going to come out from it. And I believe that that can be translated in each and every one of our lives. So what I learned from that was, I'm going to work on myself. I am going to input, learn all the things that I didn't think I knew how to run. Currently I'm learning about business plan, writing a business plan, and how to pitch investors and all those things. I have everything I need inside of me. What I don't have, I can learn. But the thing is, when you're going out there to talk to those people, you're thinking, oh, I don't have the experience that I need. You don't need educational, like, you don't need a degree to have experience. You can learn these things, and you can draw from what you already have. And to me, I was like, I love to talk. I've said this so many times. That's how I'm able to record all these minutes of talking. I love to talk, and through talking, I have been able to influence people. So many people have reached out to me and said, Resty, that time when I called you, you really helped me through a tough time. And I'm like, I don't even remember what I said to you, but I realize it's my gift. Like, so I'm using my gifts, the things that I have, my resilience, my talkative nature, even if I was beaten for it in class. Ha ha, to all the teachers that beat me for talking in class. Anyways, all those things are helping me right now. And I am seeing that as I am growing my garden, I am attracting the right people. And these are the butterflies that I was trying to catch in the beginning. So, as I conclude this, I would like you to know that you were created for a purpose. And that purpose is something that we can discover together on this podcast in this new season. So stay tuned as I bring you a lineup of amazing women who are doing amazing things in society. I love you so much, and goodbye for now. Starting next week is going to be episodes from other people, interviews, but I felt like I should introduce the word purpose to you in my own perspective. Bye-bye. Love you all. Please help me spread the word by sharing our episodes with your friends, family, and followers. Let's amplify the voices of women, break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and create a network of support and empowerment. Together, we can bring about positive change and make this world a better place for all. This is SheCentre, the female podcast, where women's stories matter. I love you all. God bless.